4 idiot things in fighting games. Bear in mind this comes from a Mortal Kombat tard who's played precious little of precious few other fighting games, so enjoy your grain of salt. Salty. Just like cum. Tap once to move, tap twice to dash. What the fuck is the point of this? Controllers, fight sticks, and keyboards all have plenty of buttons on them so as to not require this bullshit. Oh, it's because of the difficulty. I will cover you in fucking bees. Tapping something twice is a mark of skill? For what, a goldfish? My 80-something-year-old grandpa could do it. In fact, he'd do it too well because he has Parkinson's. He'd speedrun that shit. He'd do it by accident. And that's my point. This kind of rudimentary control scheme invites input errors for no reason. Sometimes the second tap doesn't register, sometimes it registers when you don't want it to register, maybe your palms are sweaty. The controller's dirty, unresponsive, too responsive, maybe the ping is too high. One button press is always better than 2 button presses in sequence. The latter adds a delay, however small, that nonetheless impairs communication between you and the game. And you know what's hilarious? Most genres have the common sense to avoid this crap. Most action adventures, most shooters, first-person games, third-person games, they all use single button commands for most things. Games that don't even require that much precision. Yet when it comes to fighting games, the absolute king of precision gameplay where timing and accuracy of inputs is more crucial than wearing a helmet in a construction zone or the bedroom. Nah, just tap the same button twice.
It'll be fine.
Just tap one of the most used keys in the game twice. Just make that hyper important, overused key share 2 functions. I can't explain to you how many times I've accidentally dashed forward just because I was moving forward, paused slightly, then pressed forward again. Just footsied into accidental forward dash into someone's mouth. Now I'm in jail because of bad controls. But negative edge. Shut the fuck up. MK still pulls that shit no matter what you check or uncheck in that fucking thing, and you know it. Just double tap. Double tap, double tap, back, If only we had another button that served no purpose that could be repurposed as a trigger or hold shift key situation. Hold it down, then tap forward or backward for forward dash, back dash, and then just hold both for running as in the simpler days of MK3 and 4. But I guess not a single button fits the bill. Did you not hear me? I said no more shared functions, goddammit. Why do fighting game players insist on living in the dark ages? Bro, back blocking is important for crossover attacks. That's it? That's your entire thesis? Fuck crossover attacks. Jumping in fighting games should be discouraged anyway. Jump-in attacks are far too easy and anti-airs are far too difficult. And encouraging jumping attacks led to the cancer that MKX air attacks were. But you're just dumbing it down. If you make it easier, you'll ruin the game, bro. Yes, by actually attracting new people to fighting games instead of scaring them shitless with your arbitrary difficulty. You want difficult? Do your taxes, that's difficult. And just as arbitrary. Go to the gym, that's also difficult. Listen to your wife, that's almost impossible. Do you realize that fighting games have the worst reputation among casuals? Not even casuals, just non-diehards. Well, second worst. There's one genre that trumps them, but second place isn't exactly flattering either. We love to complain about how fighting games don't get the support that other esports do, and the community often has to manifest an event out of thin air. And woe is me, and no one's doing anything for this fucking scene, yet when the topic of making fighting games more palatable for newbies dares to be broached, it's still us that throw a fucking tantrum over it like a bunch of octogenarians on meth. Well, fuck us. No, not you. Let's use forward button for walking, dashing, wave dashing, and running, and let's use back button for walk back, dash back, and block. Peak nonsense. Sometimes you can dial your whole combo, sometimes you can only dial most of it and have to delay the last input for it to register. Why? What is the point? What's this supposed to accomplish? I want to know who thought this up so I can
destroy the child.
Seriously, what is the point? You just fucking with me to fuck with me? Bro, if it's a dial-up system, then let it be a dial-up system. If it's a link, hit, timing, whatever the fuck it's called system, then let it be that system. None of this in-between crap. If I do this combo with Reptile, I can input every command well in advance except the very last hit, which you have to delay a bit because our fighting game is deep. I'm deep. And your mother. Also, I get the importance of strict timing, but too strict a timing is, once again, pretty arbitrary. All it means is, instead of spending a day to lab a combo, I now have to spend 5 and still get it wrong half the time. Not sure if this applies to MK12, but I used to see half the cast miss combos like crazy in older games, even with pro players playing them, and the other half just be brain-dead autopilot and never miss a combo. To be clear, I don't want to abolish difficulty of execution, not even close. It's a huge part of competitive games in general. Seeing a pro player being forced to hold it it together in a high-pressure situation is exciting. If they crumble and mess up their execution and the other guy doesn't, that's tragic, but that's the game. That's fighting, that's competition, in general. Things don't always go right. It would be boring if everything was perfect all the time. It'd be chess by two AIs, where they already know how it's gonna go based on the first two moves. Aha, the Frenchman's cum sock opening, I have you now. But the problem occurs when some characters are so difficult to play, with not nearly enough payoff for that difficulty. If a character is satanically, frustratingly hard to play, but can yield like 80% damage combos if you get it right, and also isn't a complete slouch even if you don't, that's fine. But oftentimes you see characters that are just good all round, and others that are only good if you input thrice the time to master them, which is stupid. And then, as I've said, I've played precious little of precious few fighting games that are not Mortal Kombat, obviously, but as a newbie going into things like Street Fighter or King of Fighters, linking hits together into combos seems a little needlessly difficult, especially with characters freezing into their hit animations like most of these anime-infested affairs do. This could just be my dial-up combo brain rot talking, however, so feel free to ignore. I don't care. I don't, but I fuck. And we've come to the pokes. Now, this may not apply to some games. As a matter of fact, as far as I can tell, it's just a Mortal Kombat issue. Although I will say Street Fighter looks kind of silly too sometimes. King of Fighters is a little different from what I can tell because you can link pokes into combos, and Street Fighter lets you link pokes into special moves and thus, again, make combos that way. In MK, you can literally just poke for poking's sake. Yes, you can special cancel, but they don't combo. They count as separate hits that can be blocked individually. Now, if you're new to fighting games and all this stuff is starting to microwave your brain, I'll give you the TLDR. Pokes are the fastest attacks in the game, so they're the most likely to hit you, and thus the most likely to be abused. The way you're supposed to deal with a poke is to block it, then either do a poke of your own, because again, they're the fastest attacks, or do a standing attack and punish them. Now, the vast majority of standing attacks that are quick enough to punish pokes are high attacks, meaning they can be crouched. The problem is because that punish window is so small, and because of lag, input delay, drop frame, stress, and all that jazz that gets thrown on top of it, standing attacks will almost never work. You miss a couple frames and they just poke again, which, since they're low attacks, they low profile your high attack. Which means most online matches devolve to this. Everyone just counters pokes with more pokes, but I'll see your poke and raise my poke. Haha, double poke, motherfucker. Bet you didn't see that coming.
Kill me now.
All the while the game is going, we use a salad fork for this dish like posh gentlemen, and players just proceed to use their face. Every time. Because why the fuck bother with a counter method that's 10 times harder and has a 10% chance of working and a 90% chance of filling you with a sudden urge to stick that salad fork in your neck? And then the games. And then the other problem with NRS pokes is they look retarded as fuck, like they were animated by a person with brain cancer. It looks like you're cleaning dog poop off the sidewalk. Take any NRS game that has ever existed and find me one low poke that looks cool, or at least doesn't look like you just had brain surgery. You won't find it quickly, possibly never. Even in pro matches and offline tournaments where there's no lag and players know exactly what they're doing, things sometimes still devolve into a squatting game of slap hands. It looks horrible. This is cool. It looks like absolute ass. Imagine Neo and Smith squatting like they're about to take a shit and going, I got you. No, I got you. No, I got you. No, you, I got you. I got you. If I had to choose between killing pokes and killing malaria, I'd say just wear some bug spray, people. It ain't that bad. Special thanks to Longthorn and Sir Hihrishin for sponsoring the channel.